Hello, I'm Robert Silvera.
Hi, I'm Ruby Costa. Nice to meet you.
Ruby Casa. Okay, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So right here is the informed consent form,
Mm-hmm.
which if you sign it, you acknowledge that I am a student and I am under Dr. Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do not have the confidentiality rule. I Whatever said here isn't confidential because it's gonna be shown to her as well. Also, if things get you start talking about suicidal intentions or whatever, or harm towards others, or child abuse to someone else or to yourself, I have to report that even though I am a student. We're going to try to stay away from speaking about alcohol and drugs, okay? You acknowledge that everything that we have said
I
here,
acknowledge and I'll take part.
okay? So tell me a little bit about yourself, Ruby.
I attend a four-year university, CSU Stanislaus. I am a mathematics major. I The reason why I picked my major is so I could teach, possibly high school and or college level.
Which one would you prefer?
High school for now, but my goal is to be a college professor.
Okay, that's really cool. So high school, have you sat in the high school class to watch how the teachers do it? Multiple classes
Not
or
yet.
not yet? Do you want to?
I want to. I'm planning on doing it this semester.
This semester, do you have a certain time frame when you're going to try to go in?
Hopefully Fridays.
Okay, that's really good. So then in the long term, you want to be a college professor. Have you looked into how to become a college professor?
Not really, although I've talked to certain people about going to grad school.
Have you talked to any of the professors?
Some of them, yes.
And did they say it was a good idea, a bad idea?
Yeah, it's a good idea. They see potential in me to become a college professor. They also recommend me to go to research programs like in the summertime or the wintertime. Because, like, when you become a college professor, you have to do research also on the side. You have to write books or, like, do a research
And
paper.
do you have any research you're interested in?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment?
No.
What's the most intriguing subject you could think about?
I really like this past semester that just ended before winter break. I took set theory and logic, and I really enjoyed that class. That was like my first proof writing class.
Theory and logic?
Set theory and logic.
Okay. And why not look more into that?
I don't know, cause like I was struggling with writing proofs, and I actually had a really good professor that like took the time and was really patient with me and helped me like to be able to write proofs. Cause this semester I'm taking a course called Theory of Numbers, and we also have to apply the principles we learned from set theory to that class as well.
Oh wow, it sounds like a tough class. Does it give you any stress or anxiety?
A little bit. This coming Friday we have our first exam.
Your first exam, have you studied and prepared for it?
Not really. I have to do it tonight.
Tonight and this
Week.
next Friday, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, that's really good that you go start tonight. A little bit ahead of time actually could probably help you if that's your learning style to learn it
Yeah, I noticed
ahead
that
of
if I
time.
study a week in advance, I tend to do better.
That's good. That's good that you're getting on the ball about that. And so, what's the biggest decisions you ever had to make while in your bachelor's degree?
I would say the biggest decision I'd have to make is like getting my first job.
Getting your first job?
Yes.
And why was that such a big decision?
Because my parents told me like, oh, you don't really need to get a job. You have, because I have financial aid because my
Mm-hmm.
parents make so little. So I have that to rely on. So my parents are like, oh, you don't have to work, just focus on your studies. You'll work when time is right. And I figured, the time is right now since they're offering me this position and they're really interested in me.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
And describe what you do at your job.
My job, I've been there for 2 years now, this past month in January. I am an AVID tutor for the AVID program at in Hillmar School District.
How do you like that?
I really like it. I work at the middle school, so working at that has like opened my eyes to do middle school teaching
Okay.
as well. And I've looked into it. Some people say I need a multiple subject credential to be able to teach there because now they teach with blocks. So since
What's a wood block?
a block, it's not a wood block. They teach in blocks. So
Oh,
block
okay.
is like history or social studies and English are together, and then math and science are together, but like two separate periods. But the same teacher teaches those disciplines.
Okay, and up to how many students do you teach at a time?
It depends. Since like it'll be a core class, since I'm studying math, and like if I want to teach middle school at that middle school in particular, I'd have to take the C sets for science.
Okay.
So depend roughly probably like 30 to 35 students.
30 to 35 students at the same time?
Mhm.
Okay,
Per class period.
and you're the only tutor in that class
Oh
period?
no, you're talking about the students. No, I'm not the only tutor. The biggest class that we have is like 35 students, almost 40.
Okay. That's
There's
really
three
good.
other tutors along with me, so that makes us four
In the
tutors.
same classroom?
Mhm.
That's really good. And so a piece, how many students do you normally get?
Normally, like the norm is 7 students, 7-to-1 ratio.
At the same time?
Yes.
Okay, and how do you handle that?
It's not that difficult to handle. Like if the students are on task and they do their work, because we're just there to facilitate. We're not there to watch over. We're there to watch over them, but they do their own thing, and we're just there to ask filler questions
Mm-hmm.
if they get stuck.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we step in and actually solve it for them. But we obviously ask them questions because since Common Core is in play.
And have you learned any of the Common Core yet?
No, I'm actually taking a course this semester about Common Core standards for math only, but not any other subject.
And are you planning to be a multi-subject or just math?
It depends. I want to try to get a multiple subject credential
Okay.
along with the math credentials. Because you can get multiple credentials. You just have to take the tests and it's your money pretty much. So.
I see. And are you going to do your credentials right after you graduate with your bachelor's?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do that, and then maybe later on go for my master's. Or if something happens, maybe just go straight to master's. Go to grad school.
Oh, okay. So you want to go straight to grad school?
Yeah, if the door opens to that road, yes, or to that path.
Okay. So, what would you say would be a financial struggle to achieve your goal? Like, why would that door
I would
not
say
open?
it wouldn't open depending where life is at that moment for myself, or if I happen to not pass one of my classes, like my math classes,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to stay an extra year, or if maybe I get a good opportunity to teach out of high school, maybe.
Good opportunity to teach out of high school?
Out of high school, like if a high school is like really interested in me, then I'll just go to the credential program.
And did you want to stay here in the valley or?
Of course, to stay here in the valley or really anywhere. I'm not really in particular. Some people have questioned me if I want to teach at my hometown high school,
Mm-hmm.
but what I tell people is I can't just rely on that because I don't want to get disappointed in the long run if I can't get in.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
very,
I have to have
very
an
true.
open mind.
Yes. And would you ever consider living in a city?
Yes, actually. Because I come from a really small town and I just want to know the difference in the atmosphere and like what there is to offer. Or I know it's busy and like there's rarely any place to park or like it's expensive or just maybe you have to move into a place where you don't know those people or
If you were
it's
to
just
move into a city, where would it be?
I honestly would try maybe like San Diego or like LA.
And why is that?
I don't know, just to be in like in a really big city, or like it'd be really cool if I could go to New York, but I don't know if my degree would fit well over there. You know, I don't know if like a bachelor from a California State University would work at a different state. I'm not sure because I've heard that.
Bachelor's from any college would help you
Yeah, but
in
like
any
I've heard
state.
certain schools or certain areas don't accept it. I don't know. Maybe it's a rumor
Where did you hear those rumors at?
from like my companions that study with me, or
And
actually my
have
college
they
best friend
been
told me
to
that.
New York?
No, no, not really.
And did they do research on New York?
No, I haven't looked into it myself.
So it would be like their opinion then.
Yeah, mostly I'm basing it on an opinion.
And you believe their opinion?
Well, yeah, now I do, but I don't know. Maybe I should look into that.
You should. Any opportunity is great. So what would be a tough thing that you're going through at this very moment?
A tough thing would be taking on 18 units.
18 units
Yeah.
while going to work how many hours a week?
About 12 to 15 hours a week.
15 hours a week? And how many hours at school per se?
Oh my gosh, like a lot. I start at 8 a.m. and then I go till noon for our break, and then I end at 5:30.
You end at 5:30? So 8 to noon, then you have a small break.
A huge break, 4 hours.
4 hours until 5:30?
Well, 4 hour break, and then I have class at 4 to 5:30.
Okay. So 4 to 5, 5:30, and what class is that?
The last class?
Mm-hmm.
Math for secondary teachers.
Math for secondary teachers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like that class?
I like it. It's actually a course where we work with word problems and we learn problem solving skills.
Oh, that's really, really good.
And honestly, like when I was growing up, like through pre-K and so forth till maybe like my senior year, I did not like word problems, and I still don't because they take too much work and you have to like decipher them and figure out how to solve them and approach them. But now that I'm taking this course, it like opened my eyes to like, oh, they're actually fun, and like just see the different angles that you could approach with them.
Now, since you're a math major, do you think math problems are fun?
Yeah, I enjoy math problems. I will admit I don't enjoy writing proofs
Okay.
because you have to think and you have to be really open-minded and use what you know to apply your skills to that particular problem. Sometimes they're not straightforward as they seem. Depends. Like my friend was telling me he's in abstract right now, abstract algebra, and that class, you don't have a function you work with. You basically have to like take what you know and build a function, or determine whether that function is like one-to-one, like we've discussed in set theory, which they're bringing it back to abstract algebra. So, and I find that crazy because I need like a function to work off of or a formula, or that's just me personally. Like I can't take something abstract and then work from it.
And do you do math problems to like pass time?
I haven't done that. To pass time for me, I love doing Sudoku or word searches.
So semi-mathematical.
Yeah.
And how often do you do Sudoku?
Almost every day.
Every day?
Every day.
Okay. That's really, really good because I heard that Sudoku really helps with brain functioning and improves cognitive use. Use. So we have. I'm just telling you that we have about 5 minutes left, so we're going to start closing it off a little bit. Just a little warning to let you know that we're almost done.
Okay.
This session's almost done. So, did you ever think of any other major that you would want to do?
My mindset was on criminal justice.
Criminal justice, and what piqued your interest there?
Um, it's gonna sound very bland, but CSI, like criminal scene investigation, like shows or like any articles that I read about that, like caught my interest.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do with that is like major in criminal justice, but have a concentration in forensic science.
Okay, so you wanted to be in like
The labs.
the
Much.
labs. Okay.
Do toxicology. I think toxicology.
And is that due to the shows?
It could be due to the shows, and like I just never was girly when it came to like dead bodies, I guess, or like blood or DNA testing or anything like that.
Okay, okay. Um, and so criminal justice. Do you think those shows are blown out of proportion, or
Definitely blown out of proportion. You can't figure out a crime within 24 hours or like within a week's span. It takes longer than that depending on the crime or the I don't know. Who knows what it's about? It could be a murder trial. It could be just someone on the side of the road just being an innocent person and innocent bystander and just getting shot at. I don't know.
it seems that you are very interested in criminal justice. What made you choose mathematics instead of criminal justice?
I like always wanted to teach, and I just had the heart to do so. I volunteered at a Portuguese school since like 8th grade till now, and that's been like so many years already, like almost 8 years
8 years
or
helping
7 years. Yeah, as a volunteer, and well, now I'm getting paid for it just recently, but
How recently was that?
like 2 years ago recently.
Okay.
This will be
And
the second year.
when do they usually have Portuguese school?
Monday evenings at my church hall.
All year round, or
They go about like a school year.
a school year?
Yeah.
So the summertime they are out.
Yes. So they start in September roughly and they go till May.
And you said you're Portuguese. Are you Portuguese as well since you help at the Portuguese school?
Yes.
Any hobbies, or are you culturally involved, or
Yeah, I actually play for a Portuguese marching band. I play clarinet for Portuguese celebrations all throughout California and the Central Valley.
and where do these Portuguese celebrations usually get held?
Anywhere with like a religious preference. So like it could be Turlock from Hanford till San Diego and almost everywhere.
And what religion preference would
Catholicism.
okay. So what happens at these Portuguese festivities?
They celebrate the Holy Spirit, and they have 3 girls that potentially represent the Holy Spirit and are known as queens or side maids that tend to represent that celebration. And what we do as a marching band is we play music just to facilitate the parades that they have after Mass or if before Mass to celebrate the Holy Spirit, of course.
And is there anything else you were culturally involved in?
I was myself a side maid at one point for my cousin, for Patterson.
Okay.
For a year. It lasts a year, roughly.
A year.
Mm-hmm.
And was that every weekend, or?
It was every weekend in the summer, starting right after Easter.
Okay.
Until October, the end of October.
What was the furthest place you went?
The furthest place would be Rio Vista or Gilroy.
Okay. And
or
how
maybe
long?
farther than that. I'm not sure. I'm sure there was like, or Hanford. I know it was like Monterey. I don't know, 2-hour drives, maybe 3 hours.
Okay. That is a very far distance.
Mm-hmm.
And how long would the walks take?
The longest parade, which is actually quite local near Turlock area, is Gustine, and that parade is usually an hour and a half long.
An hour and a half long?
Or an hour long. There's queens from all over that gather, and bands, like any kind of band all throughout California that gather, and the parades usually take a really long time.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot more to talk about, but that concludes our session for today.
Okay.
It was nice meeting you, Ruby.
Nice meeting you too.
And I'll see you next time.
Yes.